Right now, in July, your lavender is finishing its show. The flowers are fading from that deep purple to a dusty gray. The bees are moving on, and the plant is starting to look a little scruffy. And there is one job it needs in the next couple of weeks that decides everything about the next 20 years of that plant. And here is what almost nobody tells you. Most gardeners get this job completely wrong. Not slightly wrong. Completely wrong. And they get it wrong in two opposite directions, both of which end with a dead lavender. Group 1 never cuts it at all, because it looks fine, and cutting a healthy plant feels like vandalism, so they leave it. And every year that lavender puts on a little more bare wood at the bottom, until it is all leggy stems and bare knuckles, splitting open in the middle with an ugly hole where the plant used to be. Growers call it the chicken leg look, and a lavender left like that is finished by about year 6. Group 2 does the confident thing. They get the shears out and cut it back hard, the way you would cut back almost any other shrub in your garden, and they kill it. Dead. Outright. Because here is the thing about lavender that makes it different from nearly everything else you grow. Lavender does not come back from old wood. It will not resprout from a bare brown stem. So the instinct that works on almost every other plant in your garden, cut it hard and it will bounce back, is the exact instinct that leaves you with a dead stick. There is one rule that keeps you out of both of those graves, and it is 5 words long. I will give it to you in a moment. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to cut, exactly where to cut it, exactly when your deadline is, and what to do if yours has already gone woody. With the numbers spelled right out. But first, you need to understand what a lavender actually is. Because it is not what you think. Here is what a lavender actually is. And once you see it, the whole job becomes obvious. A lavender is not a perennial, not really. And it is not a proper shrub either. It is what botanists call a semi-shrub or a subshrub, and that means it is 2 different plants stacked on top of each other. The top half is soft, green, herbaceous growth. New leaves, new shoots, this year's flowers. That part behaves like a perennial. It is alive, it is flexible, it grows. The bottom half is wood, bare, brown, hard, and it gets a little taller every single year because that is what happens to lavender stems as they age. They lignify. They turn to timber from the bottom up. And here's the fact that decides everything in this video. That brown wood is dead ground. Lavender will not reliably produce new growth from a bare, leafless, woody stem. Cut into it, and nothing comes back. Not next month, not next spring. Ever. You are left with a bare stick where a branch used to be. Every other shrub in your garden forgives you for this. Cut a hydrangea, a rose, a butterfly bush back into old wood, and it shrugs and pushes new shoots. Lavender does not. Lavender is the exception. So your entire job, every July, is one thing. Find where the green ends and the brown begins, and stay above it. That is the 5-word rule I promised you. Cut into the green, never the brown. That is it. That is the whole video. Everything from here is just detail. And do me a favor, drop a comment and tell me 2 things. What kind of lavender you have, English, Spanish, French, or one of the big lavandines like Grosso or Phenomenal. And your zone, because both of those change your date, and I will come back to them. Now let me show you why the clock is running. So why now? Why July? Here is the honest answer, and it is not a date. It is an event. You prune lavender immediately after its main flush of flowers fades. That is the trigger, not the calendar. And that is why I asked what type you have, because the types run on different clocks. English lavender, the classic Lavandula angustifolia, throws its main flush in late June and early July, so for most of you, right now is exactly it. The big lavandins, the grossos, and the provences and the phenomenals bloom later and longer, right through July into September, so yours comes later. And Spanish lavender is the early bird, flowering in late spring, so that one has already had its moment. So watch the plant, not the calendar. When the color goes and the spikes look tired, the window is open. Now here is why the window closes, and this is the part people miss entirely. When you cut lavender, you are not just tidying it, you are triggering it. The plant responds by pushing out fresh green growth, and that new growth is soft and tender, and it needs weeks of decent weather to mature and toughen up before the cold arrives. Cut too late, and you send a plant covered in brand new soft shoots straight into a frost, and the cold burns them off and leaves the whole plant weakened going into winter. So here is your deadline, and you calculate it. Look up your average first frost date and count back 6 weeks. Do not prune later than that. In colder regions, the growers are even stricter. Cut immediately after flowering and no later than midsummer. That is your window. And here is the honest fork, because for some of you the right answer is the opposite of this whole video. If you garden somewhere with short summers and early frosts, do not do a real prune now. Deadhead only, just take the spent flower stems off and save the actual annual trim for late winter or early spring. Forcing new growth you cannot ripen is worse than waiting. Now, what if you just skip it? Because plenty of people do. Then this happens, and it is not dramatic. It is gradual, which is why it sneaks up. Every year, a little more of the bottom of that plant turns to bare wood. The green retreats upward. The stems get long and lanky, flowering only at the tips. And eventually the whole thing sprawls outward and splits open, leaving a bare hole where the middle of the plant used to be. And here is what that costs you. Pruned properly, English lavender and the lavandins live 15 to 20 years. Left alone, they are woody and finished by about year 6. One job a year, and the difference is 14 years of that plant. So here is the job. And the beautiful part, the part that makes this the most satisfying chore in the whole garden, is that you do not throw any of it away. Because with lavender, the harvest and the prune are the same cut. You are not doing maintenance. You are collecting the crop and shaping the plant in one pass. So let's do it properly. First, when in the day, cut in the early morning, after the dew has dried but before the sun gets hard. That is not fussiness. The essential oils are most concentrated in the cool of the morning, and heat and direct sun evaporate them. Cut at noon in a heat wave and you have thrown away a good part of the fragrance you were growing it for. Second, what stage? If you want that lavender for anything, for drying, for sachets, for cooking, cut when about 1/3 to 1/2 of the individual buds on each spike have opened. Not when it is in full glorious bloom. That is already past peak. You want most of the buds still tight, with just the first ones showing color, because that is when the oil content is at its highest. Wait for the full show, and the fragrance is already fading. Third, and here is the actual technique. Take a handful of stems in one hand, so you are working a bunch at a time, rather than a stem at a time. Follow them down from the flower spikes, past the flowers, down into the leafy green growth, until you find a leaf node, one of those little junctions where leaves or side shoots are coming off the stem, and cut just above it at a slight angle so water sheds off the cut instead of sitting on it. And here is the payoff for cutting there. Below that cut, the side shoots you just released will grow into new stems of their own, which means healthy, established English lavender, cut correctly at the right moment, will very often push you a second flush of flowers about 6 to 8 weeks later. You did not just harvest it, you asked it for more. Now the amounts, and this is where the rule lives. Take about 1/3 of the plant off. On the big long-stemmed lavandins, you can take up to 1/2 because they carry so much stem. and you are aiming to cut roughly 2 inches above where the wood starts. 2 inches of green above the brown. And as you go, shape it. You are not cutting a flat hedge top. You are working toward a rounded, compact dome. A cushion, a mound. That is the shape that stays dense, keeps the middle from splitting open, and sheds rain and snow properly. And now, the rule, and I want you to hear it as an absolute. Leave green on every single stem you cut. Never cut a stem down past its last green growth into bare brown wood. The standard is to leave at least 3 or 4 buds above the wood, and to leave at least 2/3 of the plant's green growth on the plant when you are finished. Look at it when you are done, and it should still be a green mound. If you can see bare brown sticks poking out the top of your work, you cut too far, and those sticks are not coming back. 2 small things that matter. Use sharp bypass pruners, the kind whose blades pass each other like scissors, not the crushing kind, and not kitchen scissors. And wipe the blades with alcohol between plants, because a dirty blade carries disease straight into every fresh cut you just made. And one last thing, and I mean this. Leave a few spikes standing, not for the plant, for the bees. Lavender is one of the best nectar sources in the whole July garden, and they are working it right now. Take your harvest, leave them their share. Quick one, because this whole video has really been about one thing, not lavender. Knowing what wood you are cutting before you close the blades. And there is exactly one other plant in your garden that punishes you the same way. The hydrangea, because hydrangeas run on old wood and new wood too, and which one yours has decides everything about when you are allowed to cut. Get it backwards, tidy it up in the fall like a good gardener, and you will not kill it. It will come up green and healthy and lush next spring and give you nothing. You cut off next summer's flowers with your own hands and never knew. It is the single most common reason a healthy hydrangea will not bloom. Same mistake, same blade, different plant. So I wrote the honest version of that one down too. It is called the Hydrangea Mastery Guide. All 6 types, identified in 90 seconds, because just like today, everything starts with knowing what you actually own. The prune by type calendar, so you never make that cut at the wrong moment again. The real reason the color changes, which is not the pH, whatever you have been told. And the 5 myths that waste an entire season. 29 pages, $27, instant PDF, 7-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the description at waltgreer.com. And it ends the way this channel always ends, with the part nobody else prints. 4 of the 6 hydrangea types cannot change color at all, no matter what you pour on them. Fertilizer will never fix a hydrangea that will not bloom, because a guide that only tells you what to do is only half a guide. Now stay with me, because there is a question I have been dodging this whole video, and some of you have been shouting it at the screen. What if yours is already woody, so your lavender is already woody? Bare knuckles at the bottom, long lanky stems, maybe split open in the middle with a hole in it. Can you fix it? Honest answer, sometimes, partly, and sometimes no. Let me give you all 3. First, the test that tells you what you are working with. Get down and look closely at the woody stems and hunt for green. Not green leaves at the top, I mean green shoots, tiny new growth pushing out of the old wood itself. If you find that, life is present in that stem, and you have something to work with. If a woody stem is completely bare, brown and leafless with no sign of any new sprouting anywhere on it, that stem is dead ground. Nothing you do brings it back. So here is the gradual rescue. And this is the method that actually works. You do not fix a woody lavender in one afternoon. You fix it over 2 or 3 years. Work one branch at a time, slowly, taking each one back by a third or a half. Never into the brown. And always, always leave green leaves on every branch you touch. Then you do it again next year, and the year after, and the plant slowly rebuilds itself into a mound instead of a sprawl. What you must not do is the thing everyone wants to do. Look at that ugly woody mess, decide to be decisive, and cut the whole thing back hard to renovate it. That is not a renovation, that is an execution. Now, the gamble. For a stem that has some green on the wood but is mostly bare, you can trim it back by a third and then wait 4 to 6 weeks. If new growth emerges in that window, you won. If nothing has emerged after 6 weeks, that stem is done, and you can cut it out at the base without guilt because it was already gone. And here is the honest verdict, the part that is going to disappoint some of you. And I would rather disappoint you than sell you false hope. If your lavender is heavily woody, mostly bare, split open in the middle, pruning is not going to give you back the plant you had. Pruning may prolong it a few more years. It will not resurrect it. At a certain point, the right answer, the one nobody wants to hear, is to take the cuttings off it, root them, and start again with young plants. Because here is the thing nobody says out loud. Even done perfectly, lavender has a lifespan. English and Lavender, pruned properly, give you 15 to 20 years. French and Spanish more like 5 to 7. This is not a plant you inherit. It is a plant you keep replacing, and pruning is how you stretch each one as far as it goes. Now, while you have got the shears in your hand, let me stop 3 other things you are about to do, because pruning is the job, but these are what put your lavender in this state in the first place. First, do not feed it. I know a plant that just got cut back looks like it could use a boost, and that instinct is wrong here in a specific way. Lavender is a poor soil plant. Feed it, especially with anything high in nitrogen, and you get exactly what nitrogen always gives you. Lush, soft, leafy green growth at the direct expense of the flowers on a plant that goes floppy and sprawls. So in July, let it be. If your soil is genuinely awful, a light, low nitrogen feed in late spring is the whole program, and even that is optional. After the first year in the ground, honestly, stop fertilizing altogether. Second, do not water it. Established lavender in the ground is a drought plant. It comes from dry, rocky, sun-blasted hillsides, and it is built for exactly that. What actually kills lavender, more than any pest, more than any cold, is wet feet. Soggy soil rots the roots and the plant is gone. So the real secret to lavender is not something you add. It is drainage. Poor, gritty, sharply drained soil, and if you can plant it on a slope or a mound, better still. Third, do not mulch up against it. A thick, moist mulch packed against that woody crown holds water exactly where the plant cannot tolerate it. If you mulch lavender at all, use gravel or grit, not bark, and keep it clear of the stems. And 2 variety warnings because these will catch someone. French lavender, the Lavandula dentata with the toothed leaves, is not tough. A vigorous prune can kill it outright. Go light. And phenomenal, the big popular Lavender has long flowering stems that are less tough than they look, and it cannot be cut back to leafless wood at all. On that one, cut down only to the mound of foliage sitting below the spent flower stems, and stop there. So the whole prevention program is almost nothing. Lean soil, sharp drainage, no food, no water, and 1 honest cut a year. Lavender does not want your help. It wants your restraint. Before we finish, do one thing for me. Think of one person you know with a lavender that has gone all bare knuckles and chicken legs, or one who is about to take the shears to a healthy plant and cut it down to the wood. Send them this video, just the link. It is a 30-second watch that saves a 15-year plant. Now here is the entire video in 5 words. Cut into the green, never the brown. That is it. That is the whole thing. Everything else is detail hanging off it. The job is now, right after your main flush fades, whenever that lands for your type. Cut in the early morning, when 1/3 to 1/2 of the buds on each spike have opened, so you get the oil. Take about 1/3 off, up to 1/2 on the big lavendins, cutting a couple of inches above where the wood starts, just above a leaf node, working a handful at a time. Shape it into a rounded mound as you go, and when you are done, it is still a green cushion, with green left on every stem you touched. If you can see bare sticks, you went too far. Your deadline is 6 weeks before your first frost. Look the date up, count back. And if you garden where summers are short and frost comes early, deadhead only, and save the real trim for late winter. And then leave it alone. No food, no water, no mulch against the crown. Lavender does not want your help, it wants your restraint. And listen, there is something worth saying about this plant. A lavender is not a shrub you inherit. Even done perfectly, it gives you 15 or 20 good years, and then you take cuttings and start again. So this is not really a plant you own, it is a plant you keep. And the difference between a lavender that gives you 20 summers of that scent on a hot afternoon, the bees working it, an armful of it drying upside down in the kitchen every July, and one that is a woody split-open wreck by year 6, is one honest cut a year, made 2 inches above the wood. That is a very good trade, so subscribe and stick around. We do this the honest way here in the Forgotten Knowledge Library. Real horticulture, exact amounts, and we tell you straight, including when a plant is genuinely too far gone to save. It is free, and it always will be. Next time, another plant, another job everyone does confidently and backwards. Now go out to your lavender, get your hand down in it, and find where the green ends and the brown begins. Everything else follows from that. I will see you in the next one.